What's going on? You're tuning into The Engine on WNTH Radio, 88.1 and YouTube. Johnny Fogle alongside Nick Freeman and Nick Falk. Glad to have you in. Haven't seen you guys in a long time. It's been 2 weeks. Hope you guys had as good of a break as we did. We had a lot of fun, going on vacations, watching sports. We're excited to be back. Nick Freeman, tell them what we're going to be doing today.
So over winter break, it's been 2 weeks since our last show. We've missed a lot of content. We're sorry to all our viewers about that. We're just going to start out college football, a little recap of what happened over the break, mainly college football playoff. Then later we're going to do some NFL, talking about the NFL hot seat, what coaches have been hired and how we feel about it, maybe a little free agency, we'll see. And if we have time, we'll add a little college basketball to the end.
And a little disclosure, we know the playoffs are in hot pursuit. We're excited for the NFL playoffs. They've already started, obviously. And we promise it's coming tomorrow. Football Friday is tomorrow. It's going to be all NFL focused. But today we want to get a more widespread view of everything. It can't just be all about football all the time, although some of our viewers I know would like to see that.
Professional football we're talking about. Today we are doing college.
Professional football. Today we're doing a little bit
and we are going to do NFL awards next week. So
yeah,
these are the playoffs. So we try to focus on the playoffs this week before doing it.
Or the games itself.
So we're not going to be doing our college or our NFL playoff predictions for the games this week until tomorrow. So stay tuned for that, same time, same place. But with that being said, let's get it started. So with the playoff, I believe it was the Fiesta Bowl and the Peach Bowl. Correct me if I'm wrong. The first game that we had was, who was it? It was
Oklahoma
LSU. And we all picked LSU in this game. We were all obviously right. Were you guys surprised about the margin of victory that LSU had? And for a recap, it was 63-14. Correct me if I'm wrong. 63-14 LSU.
I think it was
It was 63-28.
63-28. A little bit of garbage time there.
Mm-hmm.
Were you guys surprised at how badly LSU dominated Oklahoma?
I know. I was not surprised at all, honestly. I think we all knew that Oklahoma wasn't really that good of a team, but LSU has proven this again and again, and they're so good. I'm so excited for this Clemson LSU game. We can talk about that later, but I think it wasn't a surprise to really anyone to think that Joe Burrow could put up these numbers too.
To me, I wouldn't say it was a surprise. I picked that LSU was going to blow out Oklahoma. So yeah. I wasn't surprised, but when you're looking and you see in the first half a quarterback has 400 yards and 7 touchdowns,
there's no way. A little bit of a mismatch.
I'm shocked. I was shocked.
Especially since they are theoretically going against the 4th best team in the country. So I guess you can factor that in too.
Is there blame there? Do you think Oklahoma resume-wise, we all think they should have been there. They had one loss. They won the Big 12 championship game. They beat the best team in their conference twice. But do you think a little bit of blame should be on the committee?
I don't think there was another team that could get that 4th spot. It seemed like there was a clear-cut top 3.
Yeah.
And after that, the only team with a resume fitting to make the playoff was Oklahoma.
Yeah, you can't blame the committee. I just think that there was 3 really good teams in college football this year, and that's just how it ended up.
The whole year, obviously, it seemed like it was LSU, Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama. Alabama lost. We don't really believe in Georgia. Oklahoma, Baylor, they're trying to fight for the last spot. Oregon's trying to fight. Oregon loses to Arizona State, whatever. I think when it's all said and done and Oregon ends up beating Wisconsin in the Rose Bowl, which is a game that I was at, and I feel like just from watching it live, Wisconsin was a better team than Oregon. However, if Oregon doesn't lose against Arizona State, they're probably in the playoff over Oklahoma. Realistically.
Yeah, they would be. Also, if Alabama didn't lose to Auburn, they might be over both those teams.
Exactly.
But I do think Oregon would get crushed too. Maybe not in the degree that Oklahoma did, but
they might be in the degree. LSU is so dominant.
LSU's dominant. Yeah. The Oregon defense is good, but
Oregon defense is a little better than
it's better than Oklahoma.
But LSU wouldn't make the 4 turnovers. They wouldn't make the mistakes that Wisconsin made in the Rose Bowl. And everybody's saying the reason Wisconsin lost that game, Wisconsin played better. They had more yards. They completely took Justin Herbert out of the passing game. He had 130 yards total on 12 for 20 passing. He had a pick. It was 4 turnovers. Wisconsin turned the ball over 4 times.
We should go back to the college football playoff.
Exactly.
We'll talk about the Rose Bowl later.
Exactly. But it seems like Oregon against Oklahoma, it seems like Oregon probably could have been in that game. It seems a little interchangeable.
I don't think it's the committee's fault.
But it's not the committee's fault.
Yeah.
They gave us what they should have given us.
And honestly, this year was kind of a dream for the committee because there's all that heat about going 6 to 8 teams. And this year there were 3 teams deserving of a college football playoff spot.
Yeah. This year would definitely not work 6 to 8 teams.
And they're saying, is this better than the BCS Bowl? If there were 2 teams and they left Clemson out, there would be so much outrage and it would be deserving.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Honestly, I actually, because of this year, I think they should keep it for a couple more years.
just to see Alabama, but you look at the recruiting classes for next year. Alabama and Georgia and Clemson are going to be forces to be reckoned with. The only teams that can really compete with them are the Gators. The three, you look at the best recruiting classes: Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, Florida. LSU's losing a lot of seniors. LSU's just not going to be there next year. Ohio State's going to be there.
I mean, they're losing Burrow.
They're losing Burrow.
Yeah, I think Joe Burrow was a culture change in LSU, though. I think a lot more recruits will come after seeing what happened there. Plus, Ed Orgeron is probably such a fun coach to play for.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
LSU has gotten so much attention. This year is great for their program.
Exactly.
Literally couldn't have been better.
Okay, moving on to the next game, Clemson, Ohio State. I know you guys were satisfied to see Ohio State lose. I think I was rooting for Ohio State in this game. Doesn't really matter. So Clemson ends up winning 29-23 on a last-second interception thrown by Justin Fields. And for people who didn't watch the game, he was targeting Chris Olave, and Olave cut left and he slipped. It looked like there was a miscommunication, and Justin Fields threw a pick in the back of the end zone. I didn't think Ohio State was going to get beaten by any team this year, and it seemed like Ohio State and LSU have been on a collision course to play each other. Did Clemson beating Ohio State come by a surprise to you guys?
Well, the game was,
surprisingly close, in my opinion.
Ohio State was dominant the first quarter. Absolutely dominant. It was not really close at all.
Yeah.
And then I think Ohio State just made some stupid mistakes. They easily could have won that game, and they slowly started to fall behind. Clemson got some momentum. I think you could even argue that Ohio State played better in the overall game than Clemson did. So, I mean, these are two really good teams, but it doesn't surprise me that Clemson won this game.
I think after last year, seeing them destroy Alabama in the College Football Championship and having a similar core to that team still led by Trevor Lawrence, I don't think any result Clemson puts up, unless it's a loss, can be too surprising.
Yeah.
They just hadn't played anyone that good this year, so we didn't really know how they would fare against the best competition. But seeing this with Lawrence, ETN, still a really solid defense. Dabo Swinney is their coach.
Yeah.
You know the so winning culture.
ETN, T. Higgins.
Ryan Day is here to stay, though. He's a great coach.
And Justin Fields, I believe, is not going to go to the NFL.
He's a sophomore. He
He's
can't
a
go.
sophomore. He can't go. Ohio State's going to be, don't worry, Buckeye fans. Ohio State, they're always good. They'll be good next year.
They're just fine.
They're going to be okay. The Big Ten's going to be okay, even though the Big Ten didn't do great in the bowl games. So, I was saying, and let's preview the national championship game this Monday. Clemson defending their championship against LSU, 29 straight victories for Clemson, the biggest in college football right now. So, Trevor Lawrence against Joe Burrow. And what I said to Falk this morning when I was talking to him about this game is, if it's a shootout, LSU will win, because LSU is built for shootouts. They're the best offense in the country, most yards. They score the most. But if this is a close game, I think Clemson's experience with the coaching and the veteran players that they have, I think Clemson can easily win back-to-back championships with this roster.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that point. I think a shootout, Clemson wins this easily.
Yeah.
No one can compete with it.
You mean LSU?
LSU,
Yeah. LSU will win this easily. No one can compete with LSU's explosive
I don't
offense.
think it will be a shootout.
If I'm saying,
if it is to be
Yeah.
But Clemson's defense underrated.
If it's similar to the Ohio State game, I honestly might go Clemson, because we really haven't seen LSU in those sort of situations.
Maybe a
you
little
mean in
bit
the
against-
lower scoring? Auburn. They beat them 23-20.
They beat Auburn.
That's true.
Auburn, but it wasn't really the Alabama game. If you watched it, it wasn't really close. Alabama was behind. What was it, 35-14 end of the first half?
I don't think it was that much.
Maybe
28-14.
14. It wasn't.
LSU seemed in
might be
control.
right. I'm not sure.
Alabama was fighting back most of that game.
Yeah.
So
that was the same as LSU Auburn. They've been in control in every game this season.
it scares me, because how many minutes has LSU been losing this year? You remember when Virginia was the number 1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament, and they hadn't been losing pretty much the whole year. They only had 2 losses. They come into that game against UMBC, they go down early, and UMBC just carries the momentum. They don't know how to play from behind. Are we worried about that with Joe Burrow? If, say, they're down 14-0, how does LSU face adversity when they really haven't had to the whole year?
I think his senior leadership and how explosive this offense is doesn't really worry me in that situation too much. I'm not saying I wouldn't be worried, because Clemson's an amazing team.
Yeah.
But I still think this team is good enough to come back from behind. And also their defense is loaded with talent. Even though they play a lot of shootouts, they still have a super talented defense.
Yeah, I don't think you can say this team is like a Big 12 team that they're just chucking it all the time. This is a very good defense. I mean, for me, right now, it's easily LSU. It's really hard for me to go against them and Joe Burrow.
They have all the momentum in the world right now. The Heisman quarterback, the number 1 overall pick.
They just won a college football playoff game 63-28. That's all the momentum you need.
Exactly. And it's really, I agree with you, it's really hard to pick against LSU. and it seems like a little bit of the Vikings Saints where nobody on the earth thinks that Clemson can win this game except them. That's drawing my judgment. It's a little close to me. I'm gonna pick LSU, but I think it's gonna be close.
Yeah, I don't think I could pick against LSU, especially after what they just did. The game's in New Orleans, which is
It's
a
gonna
huge
be loud.
advantage.
It's in the Mercedes-Benz, but it's gonna be loud.
It's going to be
right?
crazy.
Yeah.
Like, really crazy. I'm really excited for that.
Yeah.
It's LSU fans are going to be all over. This team deserves a championship. They've been in contention for so many years, but never taken that next step until this year.
It's always been Alabama.
To being that real top team. I just don't think they'll take a loss in this situation. But don't get me wrong, Clemson is an incredible team. Clemson could go out there, and we'll see that Clemson just, I'm not going to say destroys, but is clearly a superior team. We don't really know.
I can't really see a situation where Clemson destroys LSU. I think more, for me, I think if I had to choose a score, I would think LSU would probably win by like 21.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it will be a high-scoring game?
That's how confident. I do think it'll be a high-score game because LSU, I just haven't seen them. I haven't seen them stopped yet. So
See, here's the thing. This Clemson team can also score in bunches. You saw the score in the ACC championship game.
Yeah, like 63 on Virginia.
62-14. That is an unbelievable scoring line, especially considering Virginia went to the Orange Bowl and
Did
a lot
okay.
of controversy. They only lost by 8 to Florida,
Yeah.
a team that LSU was very close with the entire game. So,
They didn't play Florida.
yeah, they did. LSU played Florida. No.
No.
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Transitive property with Auburn, whatever. That's not really a fair point. But here's my thing.
Oh, they did play Florida, and they won 42-28. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there you go. So
Yeah, I thought.
LSU, this team is unbelievable. Clemson. See, the whole thing last year that I felt was Alabama was going to come into this game and take care of business against Clemson, and Clemson blew them away. And Tua was playing, and this apparently was the best defense that Nick Saban's ever had, and the best quarterback that Nick Saban's ever had.
Which is true.
Which is true. Objectively
Yeah.
correct. Statistically correct. But I think it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be 21 points. I am going to pick LSU, but I'm thinking, I don't know what the line is on this game.
5.5.
Five and a-
LSU.
that
LSU's
seems-
giving 5.5.
I'd take plus 5.5. I think it's going to be close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just looking at LSU's schedule right now. They've played everybody.
Yeah.
All these top teams, and they're consistently winning and sometimes dominating. I just don't think you can pick against them. I'd go LSU.
I don't even think there's a reason to say it's a close game. There's
Yeah.
so that's all
your
I'm
pick by
saying.
21 is intriguing. I'm gonna trust Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne and Dabo Swinney a little more.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say LSU by 14, 17, around there. Still,
Yeah.
I think LSU will control this game, but
Yeah.
Clemson is very talented.
And as you said, it is in New Orleans, so
Yeah.
that's gonna be crazy. That's an insane advantage.
It is.
So
People will say that that's the loudest stadium in all of football. I don't know. I haven't been there. It's pretty loud there. The stadiums I've been to, it's loud, but, whatever. Mercedes-Benz, we're looking forward to the game. We're going to take a 2-minute break.
Actually, one quick question.
Hold on.
This year, the college football playoff championship game is 2 weeks after the first round. First time they've ever done that. Usually it would be the past Monday. Do you guys think that's a good idea?
Don't like it. Didn't like it. It's a personal thing. It's nitpicky. I just don't like it.
I'm fine with it. It doesn't bother
It's
me.
whatever. Like,
If they can change it, they can.
I'm okay with it, but I kind of liked it the week after.
I mean, from a marketing basis, it's more beneficial for them because they can just do
Yeah,
so
of,
much.
of
more
course
to
it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean-
Also, being real, if it was 1 week after, LSU would be able to ride off that momentum of the Oklahoma game, while Clemson would still be pretty tired after Ohio State, probably.
Yeah.
So that might have created it to be a little more fair this week.
I mean, it's a little bit like the Super Bowl situation where after you win the NFC AFC Championship game, you get 2 weeks. But I'm fine. I don't like it 100%. I don't care that much. It's not that big of a deal to me. I did think it was a little strange that it wasn't like right after because it usually is. But I can live with it. It's not the end of the world. My team's not playing. Neither are your guys. So it doesn't really matter. All right, we're gonna take a quick 1 minute, 2 minute break. You're listening to The Engine on WT Radio 88.1.